Story 1. I bought a meal from Burger King at Euston Station in London a few years ago. About an hour into the journey, I started sweating heavily. I went to the bathroom and vomited until there was almost nothing left. I know it takes a while for the body to show signs of food poisoning, but that burger definitely was not right. I have not had one since. Story 2. Chicken fried steak sandwich from Kentucky Fried Chicken. When I ordered it, the employee at the counter turned around to look at the menu. He said, "Huh, I had no idea we had those. I may have been the only one who ever tried it. Terrible." Battered gristle microwaved and placed on a dinner roll. Story 3. Have you ever tasted the McDonald's hot dog? Fun fact, Ray Kroc prohibited McDonald's from selling the McHotdog because he said there is no telling what is inside the hot dogs. Story 4. Did not have to consider this more than a second. The McRib. Ghastly. Actually, I should amend that review. If you are into gristle, cartilage, and corn syrup, bon appetit. Story 5. Had a Filet-O-Fish sandwich from McDonald's that contained a large fish scale, which was oddly reassuring. Story 6. Dunkin' Donuts breakfast sandwich. I did not expect gourmet fare, but it tasted like grease that had caught on fire and then been put out with a fire extinguisher. Terrible. Story 7. I used to like Starbucks breakfast sandwiches in another life. Last year, I bought one after several years of not having any. I got a breaded chicken breakfast sandwich, and it was the worst $5 plus I have ever spent on fast food. It was just a frozen Tyson chicken patty warmed up and placed on a bun with what was supposed to be an egg and ciabatta bread. It had no flavor, not even salt. Story 8. A Burger King Whopper had so much mayonnaise that one of my bites was almost pure mayonnaise. I was instantly grossed out and felt nauseous. Story 9. When I worked in fast food, there was one soda fountain that always tasted strange. Management said to keep using it until the taste went away. One day, a crew came in to tear up the concrete floor. It turned out a family of rats had made a home under the floor and were using the soda syrup as a food source and washroom. They rerouted the pipes through the ceiling to prevent it from happening again. All the employees had drunk from it at least once, and so had the customers. That was the most disgusting fast food product I have ever had. Story 10. Any Burger King burger that is not loaded with cheese, toppings, and hopefully bacon to enhance the taste of the meat. I love their fries, but the charbroiled taste tastes like chemicals to me. Yes, I do real burgers on the grill at home. They taste nothing alike. Story 11. I went to a regional bagel chain last year and got a bagel with what was supposed to be egg white and spinach. It literally tasted like someone had microwaved leftover Chinese food and put it on top of my bagel. Story 12. Hershey's Chocolate Whopper from Burger King in Thailand. It was a beef burger with a chocolate bun and chocolate sauce with bacon and crispy onions on it, if I remember correctly. Not my favorite. Story 13. When I was 9, my mom put me on a diet that included a hamburger patty you added to hot water to rehydrate. It was an 80s diet food. A few years ago, I had a Dairy Queen burger for the first time and immediately felt like I was 9 years old again, eating a rehydrated hamburger patty. Absolutely vile. Story 14. The gap between my two White Castle experiences was incredible. The first time, I was very drunk after a night of partying with friends during a bachelor party. They got a few dozen sliders, and they were just the greatest thing ever. On the way back home, I checked to see if any White Castle restaurants were along the route, and there were. I plugged in the closest one. It was out in a remote area. The two women working the drive-thru looked confused that I was even there. They did not say hello or have a nice day or anything. They just kept gossiping as if I wasn't there. No worries. All I cared about was the food. The sliders were pure mush, not just the bun. All of it disintegrated in your hands and all had the same unpleasant taste. And the drink, you know how old ice at the bottom of an ice tray can get weird and stale and have an off flavor? It was like that, as if the ice had been left for decades. I still remember those incredible first sliders, but I have never been back to a White Castle since. Story 15. Shake Shack French fries taste like they were freezer burnt and then cooked only until they reached room temperature. Story 16. McRib. I do not know how or why it has a cult-like following. I am prepared to be downvoted on this. But my goodness, that was disgusting. Story 17. I recently had a McDonald's cheesecake McFlurry that was just disgusting. It had little crust pellets that were like raw flour and sugar pressed together, with an overly sweet strawberry syrup. It was half melted by the time it was served. I'm not sure how it passed recipe development. Everything about it was bad. Story 18. Burger King in the Middle East. I ate a Whopper and puked about an hour later. All the meat at Burger King now gives me a bad feeling, and I have stopped eating it. Story 19. These two are tied. I tried a McRib sandwich once. Oh dear Lord. What a huge mistake. I threw it away after 2 bites. I had onion rings from Burger King last year. I just had a craving for onion rings. They are not even made of real onions anymore. They are like granulated onion formed into a ring and then fried. So disgusting. Have brown onions skyrocketed in price so much that you cannot even fry real onions anymore? Story 20. Kentucky Fried Chicken. No matter how desperately I want it to taste like it did when I was a kid, it is just nasty and greasy now. Cannot eat it. Story 21. During the pandemic, I ordered a chili baked potato at Wendy's, thinking that tomato sauce, some hamburger, and cheese on top would be hearty and tasty. I dislike beans but thought I could pick them out. It was basically a potato drowned in red liquid, a collection of beans, and no discernible meat. There was very little unspoiled potato to salvage. Maybe at another Wendy's at another time, this would be a reasonably tasty option. This one was not. Story 22. Grilled chicken sandwich from Culver's. I love their hamburgers, but I was trying to get a healthier alternative on a road trip once, and that was absolutely a mistake. Story 23. The McRib. Before the negative feedback comes in, I just cannot quit her. Every time I eat one, it is followed by instant regret, but I just cannot quit her. Story 24. Recently, potato popper bites from Kentucky Fried Chicken might as well have been high school cafeteria food. They came with a cup of watery gravy as well. Abelardo's makes gross, drippy quesadillas. Story 25. Okay, I unironically like Long John Silver's, but they had limited-time lobster bites. I think they bring them back every once in a while. I tried them and they were very unpleasant. Story 26. I do not know the specific one, but one of Arby's roast beef sandwiches was terrible. The curly fries and milkshake were good, though. Story 27. The ones that gave me food poisoning twice in a few months from different brands. I never went back to either. Protect your business and people. Keep it clean. Story 28. Recently, Wendy's buffalo chicken nuggets are honestly delicious spicy nuggets. Now they come coated in a bright orange sauce that tastes primarily of salt. Story 29. I got Sonic and the fries or onion rings. I don't remember which side I chose. They tasted like cinnamon. They had some sort of cinnamon pies or bites that apparently went into the same fryer as everything else. Story 30. Coffee. I have not found a single fast food place that can make coffee that is drinkable. Even when McDonald's started doing McCafe, it was terrible. Better than their previous coffee, but still nowhere close to being good coffee. Story 31. McDonald's chicken nuggets were crispy on the outside and raw on the inside. I bit into one, and gooey, disgusting raw chicken bits spilled into my mouth. Story 32. I had a fountain soda at a convenience store that was mixed incorrectly, so the carbonated water was too strong. I did not finish it. Story 33. The first time I had White Castle, I was in a rush on the way home to host a party. I grabbed several jalapeno sliders, ate them quickly, and headed home. I did not feel well. You need to spend time building up tolerance to jalapeno sliders. Story 34. Recently, I had a McDonald's quarter pounder. The patties were rubbery and tasteless. The bun was stale, and the toppings were all mixed into a slurry. I could fold the patties edge to edge, and they did not break. I have no plans to visit a McDonald's again. Story 35. I'm pretty sure the worst Taco Bell in the entire world is in Port Angeles, Washington. Taco Bell Doritos Taco. I ordered 4 crunchy tacos, just normal tacos. They repeated back to me Doritos, and I clarified that I did not want that. When I drove up to the window to pay, they again repeated Doritos Crunchy Tacos, and I said no, that is not correct. Then they gave me a bag of crunchy tacos. I did not unwrap them until I got home. They were all Doritos flavored. That was inedible. I assumed they thought they were doing me a favor since the Doritos ones were more expensive, but they took every last penny I had, and I could not eat the food they gave me. I got my $11 back, but I am still very angry over it. This Taco Bell is combined with a Kentucky Fried Chicken, and the drive-through line has a minimum wait of 15 minutes for disgusting food. I am ashamed to say that I have dealt with this more than once, as there are very slim options in Port Angeles. Story 36. Sonic Breakfast Burrito. Nasty does not begin to describe this abomination. Throw some gross Frankenstein meat and eggs on a stale tortilla and pour an entire bottle of liquid smoke on it, and that is what it is. I literally could not finish the first bite. That liquid smoke flavor stays in the back of your throat for days. Story 37. Yes, I agree with the negative review of the Arby's beef and cheddar. It was very unpleasant and unacceptable. I also tried the buffalo chicken sliders, which had clearly never been heated to at least 130 degrees Fahrenheit. I threw them straight in the trash. Story 38. They had a Church's Chicken place open near my home in Canada. Closed down in a couple of months. It went out of business. The food was flaky, overly salty, and disgusting. Not what I expected from American Fried Chicken. I thought it would be like Popeyes or Kentucky Fried Chicken. Story 39. Burger King Original Chicken Sandwich. Burger King Whopper. Anything from Burger King. Whenever I think of going there because I am hungry and there is a nearby location, the poor customer service usually prevents me from experiencing the food again. Story 40. Loaded waffle fries from Burger King at Nadi Airport, Fiji. I had been warned, but I thought, come on, it's Burger King, how bad could it be? I cannot even describe why it was so awful, but in basic terms it was like eating a really hot lump of wet, moldy cardboard with random, extremely salty bits throughout. It was incredibly unpleasant. I think I only managed 2 bites before I gave up and threw it in the trash. Food on the plane was easily 10 times better than whatever that was, and that is not saying much about the airplane food. Story 41. Dairy Queen Superman Blizzard. Thank God I got a mini. It was the worst food product ever. All my fault as I did read what it contained. Still gagged, tossed, and scolded myself for days. Purely gross. Story 42. In-N-Out fries are never crispy, never have any potato fluff inside, and are never salty enough. I do like their burgers, though. Story 43. Had a large bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken with the family one night. Took a bite and the meat was undercooked. Put me off all fried chicken ever since. Story 44. When I was about 12, I had a Domino's pizza before they changed the recipes. Tasted to me like vomit, literal vomit. I refused to eat pizza until my late 20s, and even now I won't touch it until every other food option has been exhausted. Another time, I ate a Big Mac from a sketchy McDonald's and got food poisoning so bad that I vomited and had an accident in my sleep. I guess it's good that I'm a side sleeper. This happened probably 30 years ago, and only this past year have I dared to eat a Big Mac. Story 45. Deep-fried raw chicken plank from Long John Silver's. Of course, I did not eat it or anything else after discovering that. I did not alert anyone on the way out. Story 46. Filet-O-Fish. They accidentally gave me a free one with my order, and I discarded it after 2 bites. Story 47. Burger King Burger. Squeezed it a little too hard, and it was spewing grease and oil. Completely disgusting. Story 48. Anything from Arby's, especially if it has their melted cheese that could be used as grease to pack axle bearings. Story 49. Costco had this carne asada bake. I do not throw away food. That was until I had a Costco carne asada bake. Story 50. Way back in the day, I had a Wendy's chicken breast sandwich where a huge vein ricocheted like a rubber band, hitting me on the side of the mouth. I am still horrified. It was also a freakishly large chicken breast. Story 51. Anything from any misguided visit to Panda Express. It is desperation to eat there and still feels like penance. Story 52. One time I saw Bojangles had peach cobbler, so I got it. They literally just put some peaches on top of a biscuit. It wasn't disgusting or anything, but I remember being mad. Story 53. The worst quesadilla of my life at La Casa something or other in Milwaukee, Oregon. It was terrible, so I tossed it and never returned. Story 54. So much of the Taco Bell menu over the years has sounded like something you would eat on a drunken dare. The Doritos Shell Taco, Captain Crunch Delights, Starburst Horchata, Cheez-It Tostadas. I only made one of those up. Story 55. Mushroom Bacon Cheeseburger from Wendy's. Wendy's is my favorite fast food burger, and almost all of their special limited-time burgers that I can remember have been good. This one was a clear outlier. Here is what I wrote about it. Smelled disgusting, looked disgusting, tasted disgusting. The sauce dripped and got over your fries. The mushrooms also fell out and tasted bad on their own. A $13.19 price tag for a double patty combo was just an insult to all of the good burgers that Wendy's has had in the past, like the pretzel bacon pub cheeseburger. Normally, I have no problem finishing Wendy's burgers, but this one I could only get halfway through. Story 56. I was starving. It was 1 a.m., and the only place open was Taco Bell. I ordered a quesadilla because how can anyone mess that up? Well, I underestimated Taco Bell. I took one bite and spit it out. They put Thousand Island dressing or something in it. Disgusting. Story 57. This unusual chicken and waffle dish I ate at a food franchise inside a London supermarket tasted like pure chemicals. I think I only had 3 bites of it. Story 58. I can't think of much, but most of the pizza places I go to have the worst pizza I've ever had. They usually just taste like cardboard. Story 59. I do not know if it counts as fast food because it is a gas station chain, but Handy Hugo's is pretty sketchy. The chicken biscuit I got from them was extremely dry, and the burger was covered in mold. I do not want to eat mold. Story 60. That $2 pizza at Pizza Hut was poor quality. I bought 3 of them, thinking it would be a nice meal and a good deal, but it was as if they thought I ordered it without pizza sauce. Later, I heard that other people received the same recipe, and it was clear they were just trying to cut costs since it was such a good deal. Story 61. Kentucky Fried Chicken 4-piece meal gave me severe food poisoning that caused intense diarrhea for 2 weeks. Story 62. Cupcake soda surprised me. I expected the usual artificial bubblegum taste found in many cheap drinks trying to evoke childhood memories. I did not expect a unique drink to literally taste like confetti sprinkle vanilla cake in soda form so accurately. Story 63. I have only ever had Burger King from the location near me, and it is by far the worst fast food I have ever had. Burger King is F tier. Story 64. The Philly cheesesteak currently on the menu at Arby's was 6 ounces of mush on a soggy bun. It looked like they scraped the griddle, added some processed cheese, ran the bun through the dishwasher, and then served it. I paid $14 for that meal and left it on the side of the interstate 2 miles later. I will probably never set foot in an Arby's again. Just the thought of that food in a wrapper makes me nauseous. Story 65. Many years ago, I tried Wendy's chili, and a couple of hours later, on a job site, I threw up violently and could not work the rest of the day. Story 66. Does Taco Bell coffee count? I went there for breakfast once. Let's do something different, my spouse said. It was the worst coffee we have ever drunk. Story 67. I'm prepared for my downvotes, but I dislike the Wendy's Frosty. It has the taste and texture of freezer burn. I do not understand why people love it so much. Story 68. Anywhere in Joshua Tree, it is all lower quality food from distributors. We locals just go into Palm Springs to eat out. Story 69. I was hungover in South Korea years ago. I went to a fast food chain called Lateria. The food was disgusting, and I never ate there again. Story 70. I have been to Hardee's twice in my life. Both times I got a breakfast biscuit. Both times I got food poisoning. Story 71. I have never met anyone who remembers it. Even trying to find photos online was unhelpful years ago or would show images from Australia or elsewhere. Domino's tried stuffed crust pizza back in the early to mid-2000s, around 2004 or 2005. It was either stuffed crust or cheese between the crust, one of the two. There is a reason no one remembers it and why it disappeared as quickly as it appeared. I know they have tried it again recently. I have seen ads for it in the past year or so, but there is no chance. Also, if I am getting pizza these days, I prefer something local. Story 72. I was at a university for a seminar. I had not eaten breakfast, so I looked for the food court. I saw an Einstein Bagels kiosk and got a bagel with avocado on top. It was disgusting. Story 73. I had a Burger King burger that was not sitting well. I tried to give it to the dog, and she said, "No thanks." I have not had a Burger King burger since about 35 years ago. Story 74. More fast casual than fast food. But I have never had a meal at Cheddar's that I wanted to finish. I had a jalapeno cheeseburger there once that made me gag. Story 75. I had a burger and onion rings from Dairy Queen that tasted like hand sweat. The employee did not wash his hands. Story 76. Tom Yum soup. The prawns were nice, but the soup tasted harsh and unpleasant. Never again. I did my best to keep eating it, but no, that soup is not food. It is an assault on the senses. Story 77. Tried the honey chicken at a local Chinese restaurant that had just opened. It still had bones in it and was undercooked. Asked around about it, and apparently in only their first week of operation, they were receiving many complaints about sanitation and food preparation. Story 78. My first bite of the Nashville hot fish sandwich from Arby's. I ordered the chicken. The fish sandwich was not bad in the end, but the unexpected texture and fish flavor were a shock. Story 79. The Kentucky Fried Chicken Double Down was impressive. The short-lived Taco Bell Quesarito also felt like an affront to my digestive tract. Story 80. When I went to Indianapolis last year to view the eclipse, I decided to get a burger from Jack in the Box, because we do not have that chain where I live. I now understand why we do not have Jack in the Box here. Story 81. Tops Barbecue in Memphis is really good for quick, fairly cheap chopped meat barbecue sandwiches. However, when one opened up in the suburbs, it was nothing but gristle and fat. That is no exaggeration. There wasn't more than a speck of real meat in it. It was so gross I couldn't finish a third of it. I never went back, but looking at reviews a few years later, this is still a common complaint. Second was Chick-fil-A. I don't care about the political issues associated with it. They were a sponsor for my child's school, so they were always having events or giving out freebies for good grades and similar things. I only ate one chicken sandwich there, and all I could taste was pickle. I didn't even get pickles on it. I thought there was something wrong, but my child told me they always taste like pickles to him too. I think it's the brine they use for the chicken. That was another sandwich I barely touched, and I'm not really picky at all. Fried chicken should not taste like pickles, but given how long the lines are, they must be appealing to some people. Story 82. A breakfast roll from one of those large, shiny service stations. It was supposed to have egg, cheese, and sausage in a crispy shell. Instead, it tasted like mushy, rancid slop, overcooked on the outside and undercooked on the inside. I took one bite, spat it out, and threw the rest away. One of the nastiest things I have ever attempted to eat. It made me realize that road trips can be treacherous. Story 83. My parents wanted to try Arby's and brought me something. It literally smelled like vomit. I did not eat much of it. Edit. Had to clarify that I did taste it, and I did not like it. Story 84. Might get some heat for this, but in and out. The bun tasted like cardboard. The fries were soggy, cold, and unsalted. The spread was disgusting. It did not live up to the hype whatsoever. Story 85. Chick-fil-A. Pretty much everything on their menu is unappealing. I normally would not eat there, but when a family member was in the hospital, if the hospital cafeteria, which had decent food, was closed, Chick-fil-A was the only place to get food. My family member was there for an extended period, so I had time to develop a strong dislike for the food from the menu. Story 86. Curly fries from Jack in the Box. I want to like them, but they are always soggy at my location and never crispy. They are rarely hot. Story 87. The Pancake Egg McMuffin. The pancakes were flavored with artificial maple syrup taste. Otherwise, the idea seemed cool. Story 88. I ate at In-N-Out once just to see what all the hype was about. Everything about it was bad. The fries were cold, limp, and soggy just like the hamburger bun. Flavorless, small, and sloppily assembled. The soda was flat. There was no salt or ketchup for the fries I couldn't even eat. Not good. Story 89. Grilled cheese burrito from Taco Bell. I ate it and loved it but could not get over how disgustingly greasy the wrapper was. Story 90. I used to love it as a kid. It was crispy, flaky, and delicious. But the last 2 times I went to different locations, the fish was mushy, saturated with oil, and disgusting. I will never eat there again. Story 91. Soggy tacos from Taco Bell. The sauce tasted bad too. I am unlucky with Mexican food. I already experienced food poisoning from a full-blown restaurant a while back. I thought I was going to die in my sleep. The next day, I had to take Pedialyte. Story 92. A friend took a Kentucky Fried Chicken Double Down and put it in a McDonald's McRib. He called it a McRibble Down. I took a bite. It was terrible. Story 93. Wendy's food quality is very poor. All fountain drinks are flat and have an aftertaste of mold. Fries are greasy, limp, and flavorless. Chili is likely to cause food poisoning, and the hamburgers are barely edible for human consumption. Disgusting. 99-cent Frosties cannot save their terrible menu. Story 94. The last time I went to Arby's was the last time I will go to Arby's. My sandwich tasted like industrial detergent. They also had one of those bells you could ring if they did a good job. No one under 10 could walk by it without ringing the thing. What a demotivational tool. I felt bad for the people who worked there. Story 95. Never had one, but this has to be a Kentucky Fried Chicken famous bowl. It is like just throwing the menu in a bowl of gravy and stirring. Truly abhorrent. Story 96. Oh no. They are all disgusting. Do yourself a lifelong favor and make the decision to never eat fast food again. I did it in the late 1990s and have not looked back. Be better. Story 97. I had a pie once that had virtually no filling. It was meant to be a savory chicken and mushroom pie. More disappointing than disgusting, I suppose. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.